How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another FPL domain video. My name is Jules and today I'm going to be giving you a beginner's guide to Fantasy Premier League. Now this is for those of you that may never have played before, but you've got colleagues at work or friends at school that won't stop talking about it and you're interested and want to start playing as well. I'm going to be covering the basic concepts of the game today, but if you want to hear more about Fantasy Premier League, make sure you hit that subscribe and bell notification button for more updates, tips and tricks from me, all to do with FPL. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Just a disclaimer that there are platforms other than FPL to play fantasy football, such as Sky Fantasy Football, but FPL is definitely the most popular choice out there. If you ask your friends or colleagues what platform they'll be using to play, you can always get involved with that. But chances are that it is FPL. With almost 7 million players playing, it's definitely the most popular choice out there. So the basic concept of fantasy football is you select a group of Premier League players for your squad, and when they perform well in real life with goals, assists or clean sheets, you accumulate points in the game. In FPL's case, you have 100 million to spend on 15 players. Each game week, 11 of them will play, and it's up to you which 4 you place on the bench. You have to have 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders and 3 forwards, and it's entirely up to you what formation you play. Some of the more popular ones are 3-5-2 and 3-4-3, because a lot of the points that you will get with goals and assists will tend to be in the midfield and forwards, and depending on what position the player is in when they score, you can accumulate more points. So if a goalkeeper or defender scores, they will get 6 points. If it's a midfielder, 5 points, and if it's a forward, 4 points, because they're the most likely to score. One rule for selecting your players is that you can only have a maximum of 3 players from one Premier League club. So unfortunately you cannot have 15 Liverpool players, as much as we would maybe like to. On the side here, there is a helpful list of the players split up into their respective positions. You'll have a nice picture of the kit, the name of the player, the club, the position they play and the price that they cost. And the setting on the right here is something that you can change. At the moment it is on total points from last season, which can be a good indicator on how well they will do this season. So if I scroll to the top, you can change the players that you're seeing here. So apologies, as I'm using an OBS, you may not be able to see the drop down menu, but once you click it, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. So if I click on the view button, it will offer me a choice of players by position, so the goalkeepers and so on, or I can do it by team, so by any one of the 20 Premier League teams. So if I just wanted to see Crystal Palace players, for instance, I can just click on that, and there are all the Crystal Palace players in their respective position. If I just wanted to look at defenders, for example, I can also do that. Still ranked in the total points from last season. We'll go back to all players there. The next one along is how you want to sort them. So at the moment, like I said, it's on total points, but I can instead do it by price, for example. So now the most expensive defender is there, Alexander-Arnold, and all the midfielders are now ranked by how expensive they are. We'll go back to total points there. Then, pretty self-explanatory, it's the search function. So if I wanted to search for Mohamed Salah, for instance, there we go, he's right there. It's very helpful. And the below one is very useful when you're running low on funds. You can select a maximum cost of a player you want to see. So if I wanted to only see players that cost less than 9 million, I can do that. And now every player below I know will cost me less than 9 million. So once you've completed your squad by selecting all of your players, you will have a side ready for game week 1, such as this example team I have in front of me. So some things that you may notice are that below each player you have the fixture for the next game. So Robertson will be playing Leeds at home, Stuart Dallas will be playing Liverpool away. To make a substitution, all you have to do is click on the yellow button and select the player that you'd like to switch them out for, or you can just click on the player, click switch, and same result. Each week you will have to select a captain and a vice captain. Currently it's on these two players. The benefit of this is however many points your captain scores will be doubled. So if Aubameyang scored and got himself 5 points, it would instantly become 10 points. So picking a good captain each week is pivotal. If I scroll down, it shows me the chips and the save your team button. Very important to save your team when you make any changes, because otherwise any last minute decisions you've made will not go through, and that can be make or break when it comes to FPL. So just to cover chips quickly, I will be going over this in a later video, but just for simplicity I will mention now. Triple captain is exactly what it says on the tin. If I play that in one single game week, however many points my captain gets, it will be tripled. And the bench boost is, again, fairly self-explanatory, where my bench normally wouldn't get any points in a single game week. They will be added on to the total score. Very important to acknowledge that you can only use these chips once. A massive rookie error is thinking that you can use them whenever you want, and then being ultimately disappointed when you come up with a perfect opportunity to use them and you can't. So at the top of the page you have the option to go along on various tabs. If I click on the transfer tabs, it tells me how many players I currently have selected, how much money I have remaining, and the various players and how much they're costing, same as in the squad selection page. So if I wanted to make a change to a player in a certain game week, say I wanted to take out Jimenez and bring in Richarlison, for example, I just add the player, make the transfer, confirm the transfer, and now Richarlison's in my side. Some things to note about selecting your players, or transferring players each week rather, is that you will only get one free transfer each week, so one change that you can make to your side. If you want to make more changes each week, you will have a -4 point hit on your overall points, which can be beneficial sometimes if you're in a real bind, if you're chasing points, for example, and you really need to get ahead. But it's always wise not to make too many hits and to try and prioritize making good decisions at the start and giving players a chance. Don't just get rid of them at the first opportunity. Another chip that I didn't mention is the wild card, which you will have access to 2 times during the year, one before Christmas and one after Christmas. And this simply means that you can make as many unlimited transfers as you want in a single game week. When you use this is entirely up to you. Some of the experts recommend that you do it around game week 4 or 5 when you have a better idea of which players are performing well and who's not performing so well. Other people like to leave it right up until Christmas because that gives you the maximum amount of time to understand how the season's going, and you should just be using free transfers at that point. That's entirely up to you, but there will be another video where I discuss chips in more detail soon. So the next tab along is for mini leagues. This is how you can compare yourself to the friends that you're competing against. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can also have a look at your overall rank or how you're doing in your respective country. If you want to create your own league for your friends to join, you can do that. If you look in the top right hand corner of this video, there is an FPL domain league if you want to join that. The statistics page is fairly similar to the transfers page, but it's a bit more aesthetically pleasing. You can have a look at certain players from certain sides that you're considering bringing in. If I wanted to have a look at purely Arsenal players, for example, and sort them by who scored the most goals, I can very clearly see that Aubameyang scored the most goals last season with 22, and if I was going to pick an Arsenal player, I'd want to pick him. So those are the very basics of Fantasy Premier League. I appreciate we've not even scratched the surface when it comes to topics such as how to pick the best team or transfer and chip strategy, but if you hit that subscribe and bell notification button, you will receive updates on these topics when I release the videos on them very soon. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at FPL Domain and join my FPL mini league. I've been FPL Domain. Thank you for watching.